Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As usual, we have in the house Eric Hayes. How you doing, Eric Hayes from Tascasita, Kingwood? Paul Fleming is in the house from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. We have Lee Grant in the house from Montgomery County. Melanie Keelan in the house way over in Spain, Barcelona, Spain. We also have Paul Fleming from Atlanta, Georgia. Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York. And we still await the rest of folks to populate the space. We're going to have a great show for you today. Paul says, ultimately, this case was not just about addiction, a disease that haunts families across the United States, including Hunter Biden's family. Mr. Wise said at the news conference Tuesday afternoon, this case was about the illegal choices the defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous. That is true. He got convicted, and, as he should. And you know what's so funny? That's it. You didn't see anybody go out and say, the system is thrilled, it's against him or anything like that. Hunter Biden should get 25 years in prison. Carl is from Riverdale, Georgia. Carl Cox in from Riverdale, Georgia. I don't think he should get 25 years in prison, though he did a wrong thing. But I don't think prison is the answer on this. Just like I don't think prison is the answer for the crack addict that we had in the inner cities or the crack addicts that we have in Appalachia or anything like that. I think we need to learn from Norway and start to have a correctional system that does just that. Correct folks. Maywood is in from Long Beach, California. Carl Cox again from Riverdale, Georgia. Crockett is part of this legislation, which was in April, way before Orange Man trial. Did they already? What? Run-on sentences, brother. Run-on sentences. Thompson's bill introduced in April will stop Secret Service protection for a protectee when they are sentenced for a state prison or federal crime that carries a penalty. Well, I don't think you can do that for the president. I would be against that because the president theoretically has a whole lot of secrets that if they kidnap a weak person like Donald Trump or beat him up, he'll probably start singing like a bird. He doesn't have much character or anything like that. Carl Cox says, you are correct. Prison is good for him. They tried to get Hunter off before a judge caught him. No, he's probably not going to get prison. He's probably going to get what anybody else who would have committed a crime like that would have gotten, which is some sort of probation. This is not a serious. It was dangerous in my opinion because again he had drugs, guns, but you have people with alcoholism and drugs. All these things happen. So, no, I'm sorry. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Michael Rudden says, seen this a couple of times in my feed today. Right-wing bubble has a new controversy over New York renaming a subway station tourist trap, but they are almost a decade late to the party. Wikipedia. On June 23rd, 2015, the Stonewall Inn became a New York City designated landmark, making it the first city landmark to commemorate an LGBT icon. The designation prompted Greenwich Village residents to lobby for the inn and the adjacent park to be labeled a national monument. On June 24, 2016, President Barack Obama officially designated the Stonewall National Monument, making it the United States' first national monument designated for an LGBTQ historic site. I'm still trying to figure out what's the problem with that. I don't see a problem with that. All right. Michael says bill would rename New York City subway stop after Stonewall, a landmark in LGBTQ rights movement. The state legislature approved the bill to rename the station closest to Stonewall Inn, a move the bill sponsor hopes will inspire equality for all. It's amazing how these people who like freedom care so little about freedom. I find it ironic. Paul Fleming says, a school district in Arkansas installed 1,400 solar panels, which turned a $250K deficit into a $1.8 million surplus. They raised teacher salaries, and now other districts are doing the same. Hey, Paul, can you go ahead and send me that link? I know I could look it up, but send me that link if you have it. John Stewart asked why corporations pretend to have have morals, when we all know the only thing they value is money. Watch the full segment on YouTube. I mean, I guess that is something we preach all the time, isn't it? All the time. Michael Rodin says, reminder, the charge was lying on a federal form about gun rights. As for sentencing, the expectation is probation. Yes, P.S. If his name wasn't Hunter Biden, this would have never gone to trial, and the right-wing bubble would have gone to gay rights. Peggy Lopez, thank you. She gave us a great super chat, a post-it note with the text, I'll be back, appearing on it. Thank you very much. I'll be back. She has, I think you mean I'm back, because I hadn't seen you in a while, Peggy. You've been missing. Lee Grant, thank you for your super chat, beautiful. Stonewall was den of iniquity, drugs, prostitution, etc., not appropriate for national monument. So what was Stonewall Jackson? Stonewall Jackson was a genocidal maniac that had created the Trail of Tears, killed a lot of people, and we made that a monument. We have a lot of monuments for a lot of people that have done a lot of evil things. And, so, I mean, I don't see why a place where a lot of our gay brothers and sisters feel like liberation came to them, why is that a problem? I don't see it at all. Maybe you can enlighten me. But anyhow, before I get completely enlightened, yesterday I told you all that I had a video, and I don't know if I should wait for the video. Let me see which story I should do first. Should I do the video on the Evangelical church that kicked out the guy? Or should I do the debt, your medical debt not going on your credit report first? You guys decide. I'm going to wait. But in the meantime, I think I have a Tom Zarnik, our brother Tom Zarnik, our resident poet laureate. Did I get that right, Tom? Politics Done Right, poet laureate, with a new meme, not limerick. Let's go with it. Trump tells a strange story about a sinking boat. Says, I don't care about you just knew. I messed it up. Let's do it again. Let's do a Tom Zarnik limerick. The Politics Done Right, poet laureate. Here he goes. Trump tells a strange story about a sinking boat. Says, I don't care about you, just need your vote. He's afraid of being shocked by a battery spark or bitten in the water by a bloodthirsty shark. Why must we choose? Can't we have both? Oh, beautiful, Mr. Zarnik, the poet laureate of Politics Done Right. Carl Cox says, Trump has proven that he has major brain damage. I think that is not too far from the truth. But I tell you what, let's see. The medical debt thing is the same as other debt taxpayers pick up the tab. No, that's not what it is at all. I tell you what, I am going to go with the medical debt after the video. So let's go ahead and do the video, since I didn't get anything definitive from the pew. And by the way, folks, I want to start using the call-in a bit more. So don't forget, the telephone number is 281-823-7747 during the hours of 3 to 4 p.m. Central Time. Again, that is 281-823-7747 during the hours of 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is when we answer the phones. If you're watching this program at another time, the phones probably won't be answered, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and do the video right this minute. Opinion columnist David French from the New York Times, and he worked before at Conservative Rags. He got a rude awakening from his evangelical church. They canceled him. Why did they cancel him? Because he had the nerve to speak some truths about Donald Trump. Truths that they all need to hear. But when you are of a belief that somehow your chosen one is somebody as flawed as Donald Trump, and you have to make sure to not say anything to reveal the truth about him, this is what you get. This was a long interview that was done on MSNBC with, but I tell you what, I cut it to get the full essence of it. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Critique it, because I think they did a great job in giving him the platform to tell a truth that many other media is not given enough of a platform to do so. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
And the decision to not support Donald Trump for president that has left some Americans feeling alienated by their churches. New York Times opinion columnist David French has a new piece out entitled "The Day My Old Church Canceled Me Was a Very Sad Day." And in it, he writes this: "This week, the leaders of the Presbyterian Church in America will gather in Richmond, Virginia for their annual General Assembly. The Presbyterian Church in America is a small, theologically conservative Christian denomination that was my family's church home for more than 15 years. It just canceled me. I am now deemed too divisive to speak to a gathering of Christians who share my faith." Two things happened that changed our lives, however, and in hindsight, they're related. First, in 2010, we adopted a 2-year-old girl from Ethiopia. Second, in 2015, Donald Trump announced his presidential campaign. I was a senior writer for National Review at the time, and when I wrote pieces critical of Trump, members of the alt-right pounced, and they attacked us through our daughter. We turned to our church for support and comfort. Our pastors and close friends came to our aid, but support was hardly universal. The church as a whole did not respond the way it did when I deployed. Instead, we began encountering racism and hatred up close from people in our church and in our church school. And David French joins us now. David, your church, what are the values it's based on? Can we refresh our memory?
Yeah. I tell you what, I've never seen anything like it. I've seen political divisions in church where, there are Republicans and Democrats, and I had spent, much of my life worshiping alongside Democrats. And when I came out against Donald Trump all the way back in 2015, I knew there would be some disagreement. I did not expect anything like we encountered. Now, look, our pastors, our close friends, they were not tolerating any of that racism or political intolerance. But it became part of the constant drumbeat of our lives. You could not any longer go to church and assume you weren't going to be confronted by someone angry. And then my daughter encountering and my kids encountering this incredible up close and personal racism at the school attached to our church. It just became incredibly difficult to sustain living in that environment. Again, there were many people who were great, but this combination of the devotion to Trump combined with the unearthing of a lot of the racism that was already in the denomination, but had been given new life in this moment, made it just unsustainable to stay. And then, we saw the denomination invite me back to speak, to share how we responded to some of these really, really polarized moments. And then the far right attacked, and within days I was canceled.
But David, the question that I had when I read your article, do you think it's that there are some that have joined this cult-like following around Donald Trump, that religion gets mixed up with what is cult, and that they really don't see the difference? They brought into this cult the feeling that they are righteous and doing what is God's will, when it's in fact a cult that has very little to do with biblical grounding or morality.
Well, there's two things happening at once. On the one hand, you have a bunch of people in the church who literally believe that God chose Trump for this moment to save America. They will say he's God's very unlikely vessel for saving America. So if you're opposing Trump, you're opposing the chosen one. And then the other thing that happens is they exaggerate all of the darkness of the other side. So what they then say is, look, Trump is the chosen one. And then the other side, the Democrats, are just pure evil. And so you even have in many churches a bunch of people who will say, you just cannot be Christian and Democratic. You can't be Christian and a Democrat at the same time. It's just not possible. And so that exerts an incredibly powerful pressure on people in the church, because there's Donald Trump, the chosen one, against this other side that's allegedly so bad you can't even be Christian and support it. And so you begin to see the social pressure that is put on people to conform, and why when somebody dissents and they say, no, I don't agree that a three-time married adulterous guy who was just convicted of crimes related to paying hush money to a porn star is God's chosen one to save America. When you don't agree with that, you're actually seen as an enemy of God. You're seen as an enemy of the United States at the same time. And that social pressure is just extraordinary. But what's even sadder is that Trump, who has this giant Christian base, a giant segment of the American church is backing him, and he has no power unless they back him. You know, what's particularly sad is you're talking about how this whole concept of repentance, that is so fundamental to the Christian faith. It's absolutely fundamental.
So fundamental.
But they still think he's the chosen one, even though, let's just go through some of the recent lists from the last year. He's been found responsible for sexual abuse. He's been found liable for defaming a victim of sexual abuse. He's been found responsible for hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fraud. He's been convicted of a crime that, even though I think there are some weaknesses in the legal side of the case, the factual side, the facts, it's overwhelming that he's did what he was accused of doing. And he's unrepentant about all of it. And if anything, the evangelical church is more a pillar of his power now than it was even a few years ago. He won the Republican primary on the strength of overwhelming evangelical support. And this is something, again, the social pressure is huge. He's God's chosen one. He's God's chosen one. It's relentless, this sort of argument. And if you dissent, yeah, there will be people in the church who still love you and support you and respect you, but there will be people who come after you.
So absolutely, yes. David French and his kids and his wife went through hell in the church because, unfortunately, the church did not want to hear the truth. They wanted to put their heads in the sand and believe that Donald Trump was the chosen one, the one God ordained to bring the country forward. Why would God ordain such a character, such an immoral character? Why would God ordain someone that his pew, that children in that church would look at and say, Mom, Dad, I thought you told us that we shouldn't lie. Mom and Dad, I thought you told us that we shouldn't fornicate. Mom and Dad, I thought you told us that we should always be fair with others, treat everyone with respect. Mom and Dad, I thought you told us not to be evil. And everything that these churches preach, Donald Trump is anathema to it. Yet, these are folks that will continue to support him. Leadership is important. Dictatorship is what we have in churches. They call it the pastor, but we all know that the pastor have near omnipotent power with his pew. That's why Donald Trump and many others like to work through the domain of the churches, because the church ain't no democracy. The church is a patriarchal animal that many times you can tell the pew, because just being in the church means that you're willing to subject yourself to a certain form of indoctrination, a certain form of control, and that is used against the pew. Unfortunately, that's what's used against the pew. So here we go. Donald Trump, his biggest support base, the evangelical church, and they excommunicate all those that attempt to tell a bit of the truth. And you see all the politicians jumping back to Trump no matter what they've said before. And that is because the church, the omnipotent church, is what is the base, the driving base for Donald Trump, the alt-right and the evangelical church. And he thinks he can ride that wave. That is not a winning wave. The Democrats, if they do what's right, if they play their cards right, if they go into every corner of this country, landslide. Absolutely so, landslide. Melissa Bowie, how are you doing this afternoon, Melissa?
I'm well. How are you, sir? How have you been?
We've been fine. I think we've been missing you in the mornings because you skip our show to go to others. I am hurt. I am completely hurt.
No, listen. I'm listening. I'm here. I'm riding with you, brother. But I feel like you got it. You got it so packed. You got it under control that I got to go to the other shows and just make sure that, we holding the line, right?
Okay. You know what? I nominate you for politician. Don't you think, PDR posse?
You see my strategy? You see me? All right.
Yes.
So I feel like they're both. I feel AIPAC is behind this, and they know they are. So
yes.
I'm thinking they got the message. Evangelicals getting the message wrong, because if you're going for the Jesus choice, then it would be Biden. Because he's doing this. This righteous work, right? So why did the whole MAGA just go ahead on and switch to Biden, because he's the one doing the work? So then on that sense, the man just told y'all, the T man just told y'all that he said, wait, let me scroll up. I'm looking at the comments here. He said, I didn't see it, but he said that he don't care about the group, his people. He just want their vote.
You know what?
He's telling them, right up, straight up. This is what it is.
I think Michael Rudnin just gave me that clip. I think that's a clip he just gave me. I am going to try to play it after we get off the line here, so that you can actually hear it, as we would say in Panama, en vivo lo vamos a escuchar.
Okay, and then to end it, because I troll Barry.
Yes.
I'm gonna say adios, amigo. Hola, Barry.
You go, girl. Anyway, Melissa, thank you for calling in, my beautiful lady. Thank you for calling in. All right, folks, I am going to try to get this right, because Brother Rudnin spent the time to find the clip. So I want to get the clip right. If I run into trouble, we'll do it again. But here it is. I think it's going to work. Not yet. Let me go ahead and see if I got the map correct. When you're doing these things impromptu, like when Mr. Rudnin said, hey, could you play this for me? And you don't get the map correct, then you can run into trouble. I think I got it now. Nope, I guess I didn't get that one correct yet. But bear with me. I am still trying, because my peeps come first. My peeps always come first. That is the right monitor. Let's see if I get the right audio device. Is a default device. I put it there, and I think I need to go to my mapping. And I think if I go to mapping, I can fix that problem. But if not, I'll just have to say, well, I didn't get it right. Okay, we're going to try one more time. I thought I had this one fixed, but I don't. One more time, folks. Those of you that are listening to this on podcasts, every now and then things don't go the way you want it to go, but we try, and we're going to try one more time and see if we can get it going. Let's see if this works.
You feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. By the way, isn't that breeze nice? You feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now
one more time.
The press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. By the way, isn't that breeze nice? You feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. By the way,
I just noticed something. That I'm doing here. The actual screen that is supposed to be what we call the monitoring screen, which is a problem that I just had, was in the wrong place. So you guys are geniuses. You guys made me find yet another. Remember, it's only one person doing all this stuff, and there's a whole lot of technical stuff going on here. Let's do it one more time.
Isn't that breeze nice? You feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. By the way, isn't that breeze nice? You feel the breeze?
And the reason the press is going to say you said a horrible thing, Mr. Trump, is because guess what? You said a horrible thing. You told the people you don't really care about their vote. You only care, you don't care about them. You only care about your vote. Then your mind that is working several milliseconds in the past then says, that is behind several milliseconds in the past from your tongue. You say, did I say that? I guess I better fix that. Come on, Mr. Trump. We all know who you are. Anyway, folks, Michael Rudin also, I think, had another piece that he wanted me to post on the screen. And he said, hey, guys, if you want to see what the evangelical church, the parts of the evangelical church, I got corrected this morning on KPFT. It's not all the evangelicals, but there is a large block of evangelicals. And this is what they want you to, this is their savior. This is their savior, man. What can I say? Anyway, we have some more to talk about today. The next subject that we're supposed to talk about is the debt. Let's see if this is, no, I don't want Alito first. I want to go with the debt first. Let's go ahead and do that first. Let me get to this here. And we're going to talk about, here's a story. Sanders approves. Okay, here's a part that I want to take up. As you know, in America, when we passed Obamacare, the idea was that most Americans, or a lot of Americans, were going bankrupt from their medical debts. Their medical debt also was affecting their credit rating. And affecting their credit rating, it means more expensive car insurance, more expensive everything, loans, etc. So medical debt, something that we can't run away from, right, was a clear and present danger for your personal economy. So because we don't have single payer, because we don't have health care paid out of the general fund, what happens often is, the hospitals are not going to not care for you because by law they have to. You can't get inexpensive health care, especially in places like Texas, where we don't have the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. So people get into substantial debt, and in effect, all these medical companies or these credit collection agencies, etc., they own you because they own your debt. If they may not immediately come for your house, but if they sue you, they can get to your estate. I mean, it's a mess. Well, Sanders for some time is saying, let's start taking care of this problem. We can't get it as a whole taken care of, but we can do it piecemeal, not the best way, but it's all we can get when we have a large number of immoral, neoliberal politicians and conservative MAGA Republican politicians, right? You can't solve that problem when there are too many of those in power. So you have to find a way to somehow nibble and nibble until you can get the bite. You nibble it down small enough till you can bite it. So today's story, Sanders applauds CFPB move to ban medical debt from credit reports. That may seem like a small thing, but it's a huge thing. It is immoral that families are being evicted, having their heat disconnected, or having their wages garnished because of crippling medical debt, Sanders said. Senator Bernie Sanders on Tuesday welcomed news that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will soon announce rules to prevent medical debt from appearing on Americans' credit reports, a move the Vermont senator called an important step in the right direction. Just a step. We got an entire state to climb. It's immoral that families are being evicted, having their heat disconnected, or having their wages garnished because of crippling medical debt, while the healthcare industry made more than $100 billion in profits last year. Sanders, the chair of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee, wrote on social media. The Washington Post reported that the Biden administration new rules expected to be unveiled Tuesday would block medical debt from being used to evaluate borrowers' fitness for mortgages and other types of loans. In effect, let me tell you what that does. That means that your debt isn't forgiven, which I think it should. I don't think there should be any medical debt. What the insurance companies are paid is far and more than enough. Okay, but let's break. The debt will stay with you, but it has no impact on your credit report, which means you can get a home and you can break from paying it later on in life. If they want to garnish when you're dead, that's fine. But here we go. The rules, according to the Post, would ban credit reporting agencies from incorporating medical debt when calculating credit scores and bar lenders from using medical debt to determine loan eligibility. The proposal will undergo weeks of public comments, meaning this November election will probably determine whether the measures are finalized, the newspaper added. GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump did not seek to remove medical debt from consumers' credit reports during his 4 years in the White House. The CFPB, headed by longtime consumer advocate Rohit Chopra, estimated in April that 15 million people in the United States have medical bills on their credit reports, despite recent changes by Equifax and other major credit reporting agencies, which announced last year that they would remove medical collection debt of $500 or less from consumer credit reports. $500 or less? Are you kidding me? I know people who got $27,000 biopsies that owe $3,000 and the health company gave $20,000. That was enough for the biopsy, and they still want to get the last sucking blood out of somebody. It's a shame. The 15 million American with medical debt on their credit reports disproportionately live in the South. So there you go, beggar states. Disproportionately live in the South and low-income communities, the CFPB observed in its April analysis. Collectively, they have more than $49 billion in outstanding medical bills in collection. KFF, which is a Kaiser Foundation, something I believe, a health policy organization, estimates based on government data that roughly 3 million U.S. adults owe medical debt of more than $10,000. Most Americans with medical debt owe money to hospitals, according to an Urban Institute analysis. KFF Health News reported in late 2022 that hundreds of U.S. hospitals maintain policies to aggressively pursue patients for unpaid bills, using tactics such as lawsuits, selling patient accounts to debt buyers, and reporting patients to credit rating agencies. It's amazing. You're sick. You go in for care. But, the care is exorbitant. They rip you off, and then they have the nerve to come against you. In an interview with ABC News, Tuesday morning, Chopra said that CFPB research shows that medical bills on your credit report aren't even predictive of whether you'll repay another type of loan. That means people's credit scores are being unjustly and inappropriately harmed by this practice, Chopra said, noting that the CFPB estimates 22,000 additional Americans would be approved for mortgages each year if the new rules are allowed to take effect. The CFPB is set to release the new rules a month after Sanders joined Representative Rokana and other progressive lawmakers in introducing legislation that would eliminate the roughly $220 billion in medical debt collectively held by tens of millions of Americans. The bill title, Medical Debt Cancellation Act, would also wipe out outstanding medical debt from credit reports. This is the United States of America. the richest country in the history of the world, Sanders said last month. People in our country should not be going bankrupt because they got cancer and could not afford to pay their medical bills. No one in America should face financial ruins because of an outrageous cost of unexpected medical emergency or hospitals. It is theft. It is immorality, our healthcare system. Capitalism has no place in healthcare. I repeat, capitalism has no place in healthcare. It has a place in restaurants. It has a place in items where people have a choice. You don't have a choice of being sick or not in the aggregate. Yes, I know people say, well, if you overeat, well, even overeating can be an issue. Oh, if you look, it's a shame. It is a shame what we're doing to our people for a select few. It is a shame. That's all I can say. It is a shame. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Melissa listening to Michael Berry. Melissa is a very cosmopolitan woman, and she likes to be fully informed. Maybe there is something you could learn from her, Mr. Hayes. Again, she spreads her wings and she makes sure she's informed. Mike Cisak says, there goes Egberto putting down the churches because they compete with the religious temple of the left, which is an all-encompassing government leftist hate competition. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Brother Cisak. Where did that come from? All right, let's see what else we got. Michael Rudnin says, replying to Paul, what do you think? Will we create a new coral reef soon? Eurasian time, just 90 miles off Florida, Russian hypersonic missiles, armed warship, nuke submarine, flex muscles, very close to the USA. Over 6 decades after the Cuban Missile Crisis, a nuclear-powered submarine has reached a Cuban port where they will be engaging in joint exercises beginning June 12. From Norway to Cuba to Russian flotilla led by frigate Admiral Gorshkov, equipped with Zircon hypersonic missiles, was monitored by a jittery Natos P-8 Poseidon anti-submarine aircraft. Okay. What else have we got here? Egberto, you know there are 3 of you on the screen now. I had to fix that. It was kind of crazy, wasn't it? All right, let's see what else we got here. Eric, this is from Michael. Conservative Christians believe in the opposite of what Christ told you was important. Feed the poor, heal the sick, welcome the refugee, love your neighbor. It's amazing that they're comfortable. They're comfortable going against all those tenets. It's a shame. It's a shame. All right, Carl Cox says, wrong, Mike Cisak. Canadians don't have debt problem of medical bills. You believe anything that the right-wing fascist says. Look, no Canadian would exchange your system for ours. No average middle-class Canadian will say, oh, we love what America has to offer. They would never do that. I've asked. I made 50 phone calls randomly across Canada when I was researching my book. Not one person ever said they prefer the Canadian system. Not one. So dream on if that's what you believe, but dream on. So basically, folks, the debt, I don't know what the rules are going to say, but something makes me feel these rules from the CFPB won't go far enough. But, you know, a nibble helps here and there. But if we really want change, if we want a single-payer healthcare system, one where your healthcare is paid out of general funds, one where you just get a card in your wallet, and no matter where you are in the United States, you just present that card if you need healthcare. You know what happens? Healthcare becomes so ubiquitous that, you know, people say, oh, well, then people are going to abuse the system. No. People abuse the system when they think they have to hurry up and get it done. But when they know that if they get sick at some time, there's an answer. That card. America, stop voting against your own interest. Support single-payer healthcare. Support healthcare for all. Support a centralized system where you don't have to pay all these thugs that just sponge on your money day after day, day after day. They bankrupt you. They do all this to you. It is in your power to elect the right people. All right, that's it for the healthcare portion. Now let's go to Alito. Let me tell you what I think about the issue with the tape recordings on Alito. I'll tell you what I really, really think. I guess Alito ain't all that smart. These are the guys that are interpreting the Constitution in posterity. These are the guys that we depend on to somehow tell us, well, the Constitution really means this, or the Constitution really means that. And it just shows you that in the case of guys like Alito and Thomas, they are corrupt, first of all, because, they get paid for their decisions. But secondly, they just don't have a whole lot of stairs. I heard that woman interviewing Alito. And after the second sentence, I realized that she was a plant. In the case, she's a card due paying member of that conservative organization, even as she is a progressive writer. But I could detect what she was doing beforehand. But this clown that actually interprets the Constitution and write laws, what can I say? He wasn't all that smart, was he? He wasn't all that smart. And he just happened to tell the truth, the inconvenient truth that we all know. The conservative Supreme Court justices are nothing but a fraud. But I must give kudos to the Supreme Court, the guy who leads it, Justice Roberts. When Justice Roberts was asked the question, and he actually replied with the correct answer. That is not our lane. We can't talk about what religion X and Y. And then when she actually told Roberts, we are a Christian nation, he says, are we? Roberts is a Christian. Roberts is a conservative. And when the woman implied that we should be reined in like a Christian nation, Roberts actually pushed back. I am not a fan of Roberts, but I must admit that I earned some respect for Roberts with that answer. I want to know if but again, he may have realized that she's a plant. He may have some level of intellect that Justice Alito clearly doesn't have. I don't know. But that's what I think it is. Millicent Bowie says, I forgot to say to Barry, did he know that during the time of Seminole escape to continue to be free from the oppression in Texas, Mexico was the home of the free and self-determination? Barry knows that. He never admitted it. You see, to lead your conservative flock, these guys preach ignorance, even if they themselves aren't really ignorant, but that's what they preach. Carl Cox says, Alito is a major league crook, Thomas, too. He and his kind believe Jesus and God, loves the wealthy, tolerates the middle class, and hates the poor. Well, that's sure as hell how they govern. That's sure as hell how they write their laws. Paul Fleming says, this is life under Republican abortion bans in this good enough for you, America? Repost from Brave Films. Recently, Trump calling abortion bans in states across the country beautiful. Yeah, we know where it stands. Look, when I tell you guys that I am expecting a Democratic landslide, that is exactly what I mean. I am expecting a Democratic landslide because this is almost the following. Don't tee up your entire playbook right away, but then come with the avalanche. Come with all the quotes, all the words, all the verbiage, all the videos. You see, there aren't videos out there of progressives saying crazy things. You know why? Because we're not crazy. Because the things that we support or the things that we want. So if they come out and say, oh, look at this person says that they want Medicare for all, we're going to say, yeah. Or somebody says, hey, they're looking for socialized medicine. We're saying, yeah, socialized democratic medicine, yeah. They can't get progressives. And the reason why is most Americans say they want the policies that progressives support. I mean, my brothers that I love right here in Michael Cisak, love the brother. But most people don't believe like him. Same with Eric Hayes. Most people don't, they want what we propose. If you take the name progressive or liberal or Democrat off of the policy, it goes through them like manna from heaven. Let's be clear here that we support what most Americans want. Elizabeth Warren, I was at the Netroots Nation, and Elizabeth Warren went on stage at Netroots. I think we were in either Arizona or Providence, Rhode Island. I don't remember what city we were in that time. And she went on and she started to give that speech. I have it on my website. Go on my website, egbertowillies.com, and search for, I think it is Elizabeth Warren, liberal, and policy. And that blog that I wrote with the video will come up. And she has all the numbers that shows most Americans want the policies that Democrats propose. It's that simple. Michael Radis says, Egberto, I'm expecting a blue trickle in November. The battle will be between who can push lower turnout rates. Republicans will talk about housing prices, inflation, and Israel to crush progressive turnout. Democrats will talk about Trump and other Republican criminality. January 6th, women's rights, minority rights, and the fight between democracy versus authoritarianism to crush the center-right vote. We might see the same thing happen as in 2016 all over again. I believe 2016 isn't going to occur. In other words, I don't think we win the popular vote and Donald Trump wins the Electoral College. I am looking for an all-out win, not only federally, meaning not only president, senators, and Congress people, but I'm also looking for state houses and governorships. And I'm not saying this being just a sucker. I have a lot of faith in the pathway is laid, okay? The pathway is there. When we're talking about things that don't really matter to people or that doesn't really have a lot of material effect that they can see in their lives today, I could understand that. But right now, the path is simple. The pathway to victory is so simple, right? All we have to do is go through all the things that Trump is saying that he's going to do. That's all we got to do. And also, and that lays a pathway, because at that point we segment the society to the point that says, oh my God, this group, that group. I don't know a group. I don't know a group that Donald Trump's policy is good for. I know a group that, despite his policies, will continue to vote for him. The Eric Hayes of the world, the Mike Cisaks of the world. But good for us. They don't make up not even a good 35% of the population. So I foresee a landslide, guys. If progressives and Democrats don't campaign like feeble-minded clowns, we win big. If they are timid in the way they campaign, we will inch out a slight electoral and popular victory. Mark my word. And believe me, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to come out and say, well, I misjudged the American people. But something tells me I am not misjudging the American people. Melissa says, I don't think that matters if the vote is paid for. Yeah, but Melissa, think about this. I love when people talk about vote being paid for, right? How much do people really get paid to vote, right? Have you remember, they a lot of people put money into commercials and all that kind of stuff, but that don't work anymore. The commercials that work are online, in videos, and we have the money to saturate that fact-based. We have the money to do it now. Not we. I need some more. In fact, that's what I better start doing in a little bit. I need more funding for Politics Done Right because we are so way behind, and I need funding for our trip to. I'm going to Baltimore next month on the 11th or the 10th. I don't remember, 10th or the 11th. We're going to be talking to all the politicians and all the bloggers out there. So I'm going to be sending out something to all of our several hundred or so people. I need to hurry and get that done because I need to get all my stuff prepared to get on that trip. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this. Folks, please support the program however best you can. There are a lot of ways to do it. I want to thank Miss Lopez today for she gave us a super chat. Love you, my dear, beautiful lady, for that super chat. Let me see. That was Peggy. And she said I want to read what she said on the super chat. She said, I'll be back. And she was back. But anyway, I want to encourage everybody to support the program. How do you do that? First of all, if you want to know all the places that we post, what are the things that we do? politicsdoneright.com/info. You can find all the platforms that we're on. From the shorts that we do to the Instagrams that we do, everything is right there on politicsdoneright.com/info. But if you want to support us, all the places to support us, you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. Become a patron. politicsdoneright.com/patron. Patron is spelled Patreon. I must spell it because this is going to get most of its views on podcasts. politicsdoneright.com/patron. Patron spelled Patreon. But you know what I would really like for you to do? Other than getting my books, and the books can be gotten at politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/books. I would love every one of you who have the ability to do so to become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. And that is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's a coffee a month. Subscribe to our newsletter, coffee a month. We only have about 103 subscribers of the over 9,000 subscribers we have. Only 103 are paid. We need about 1,000 paid subscribers, and we've been growing at that slowly. Only at 103 right now. We need about 1,000. So please consider becoming a paid subscriber of our Politics Done Right program by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. My name is, I want to thank all of you, first of all, love all of you, callers, listeners, everybody. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.